AJ Lee feels like an unsung hero these days, someone that stuck to their guns from day one. She also played a pivotal role in the Give Divas a Chance movement and pretty much smashed every storyline she was in. Remember all that madness with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan? It wouldn't have worked without one AJ Lee. Given that it looks like her wrestling days are well and truly behind her as she finds plenty of success elsewhere, the time is right to look back on her career and reveal some interesting facts that made her the figure she was. I'm Simon from WhatCulture. Please hit that subscribe button. This is 10 things you didn't know about AJ Lee. Unless you are AJ Lee, then I guess you know. Number 10, her childhood heroes. There is a heartwarming piece of WWE archive footage that was filmed during an autograph signing at WWE New York, where a young AJ Lee breaks down in tears as she goes to say hello to Lita. The prototypical anti-diva and an all-round good egg, you see Lita grab the emotional youngster and hurl her across the room. Nope, that's not true. Don't know why I said that. I'm an idiot. She, of course, brought her into her arms in a warm embrace, and it was lovely. Lee would go on to tell NorthJersey.com that during an era when WWE's women were often presented as anything but wrestlers, that it was the strong female figures who stood up for themselves, such as Lita, Molly Holly, and Trish Stratus, that inspired her. She even shouted out Miss Elizabeth because, in her words, I wanted to grow up and be just like her, and I guess in many ways she did. We mentioned the 2012 love triangle between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, which could be seen as a modern twist on the mega powers imploding. But it was definitely far weirder. Number 9, she dropped out of college to wrestle. In her excellent book, Crazy Is My Superpower, AJ documents in crazy detail the hardships her family faced as a child and the daily struggle just to make ends meet. Knowing it was a route out of poverty, Lee was encouraged to take her academic studies seriously, and she did, often excelling in class. After high school, Lee was accepted into New York University, where she read film and television production. With a household income entirely consumed by bills, Lee's friends graciously pitched in to help her apply. Unfortunately, despite receiving a scholarship, paying for higher education ultimately proved untenable. The system may have been broken in favor of the already rich, but Lee, despite being forced to abandon her studies, saw it as an opportunity to follow a different childhood dream, becoming a princess. No, it was wrestling. I did it again. At this point, I will say that if you can, you should stay in school, but also it goes to show that betting on yourself is equally as important. Number 8, she was trained by Jay Lethal, who also became her boyfriend. So where did AJ Lee start? Well, at a school where none other than Ring of Honor legend and multiple-time champion Jay Lethal was in charge. Although Lethal is only 2 years older than Lee, in 2007 he already had 6 years of experience under his belt, having made a name for himself in both ROH and TNA. In an interview with Cult of Whatever, Lethal spoke about this and how AJ Lee was the only girl in her class and that everybody else towered over her. Ultimately, however, it worked, and the pair even began dating shortly after Lee graduated. Obviously, anybody familiar with someone called CM Punk will know it didn't quite work out, but it's still a nice story, and both still speak glowingly of one another. If only every love story ended like that, especially mine. Number 7, her FCW accolades. A few years after completing her training and doing what she could on the independent scene, Lee paid the $1,500 to attend a WWE tryout in 2009. Impressed with this pint-sized rookie, the company offered AJ a contract and sent her straight to FCW, which was the developmental territory at the time. When she arrived, Lee saw that the approach to the female division was, well, let's just say interesting. Rather than a traditional championship, the group's women battled it out for title of Queen of FCW, which yes, also got you an actual crown. It didn't take long for Lee to win this after beating Serena, who you may remember from the Straight Edge Society. FCW eventually got with the times and in 2010 introduced a women's championship, and that December, Lee defeated former NXT rival Naomi for the belt, becoming the only woman to scoop up all the region's gold. WWE clearly saw something big in her. Damn it, they were right. Number 6, she wrote a Glow comic. Several decades after the original Glow died, it shone brightly once more in 2017 when it arrived as a show on Netflix. The revived and fictionalized version was arguably more popular than the first, and was subsequently renewed through to a 4th season. Capitalizing on Glow's success too, in 2019, IDW Publishing launched a comic book series based on the hit show. 2 people were drafted in to script this, and one was Lucifer actress Amy Garcia, but the other was a huge comic book nerd, and yes, that would be AJ Lee. AJ said the opportunity would allow the pair to represent diverse, complex, and unbreakable female characters, citing Glow as the perfect fit. Very nice. Number 5, her acting career. Lee has pursued a variety of new avenues since calling it quits on wrestling back in 2015. In addition to her glow comic and mental health advocacy, the former Divas champ has also tried her hand at acting, which is just the way for wrestlers in the modern day. You retire from wrestling, and then you go act for a bit. Her first taste of the silver screen came voicing herself in 2014's WWE-produced Scooby-Doo WrestleMania mystery animation. A year on, she expanded to actually acting, playing a minor role in Madden the Movie, effectively an extended commercial for the Madden 2016 video game. Whatever works. Lee's actual movie debut came in 2019's Canadian horror film Rabid, a remake of David Cronenberg's 1977 flick of the same name. She almost certainly dies in it, but I haven't seen it, so that's just wild speculation. Number 4, she lost on NXT. For the third series of NXT's original incarnation as a glorified Tough Enough-esque game show, WWE basically restarted the Divas search, although without the, well, you know, that awful stuff. Season 3 featured an all-female cast, and all but 2 of these would gain full-time contracts with the company. The pair that fell out were Aloysia, who got nixed after some raunchy images were discovered on the internet, and somebody else called Jamie. I don't remember anything else about her. AJ, despite going on to help drastically alter the paradigm of women's wrestling within the company, did not win this though. She later established an untouchable 406-day culminative reign with the old butterfly belt, but when stacked up against the likes of Maxine, Naomi, and Kasana in NXT, only managed to place 3rd. The eventual winner was Booker T's future SmackDown assistant Caitlyn. The past is weird. Number 3, Metal Gear Solid is her favorite video game. Like many modern-day wrestlers, Lee loves video games, and her lifelong passion was inflamed courtesy of her older brother, who would give her a NES controller for a bout of Super Mario Bros. When she was a kid. And that sounds like a lovely advert you'd watch over Christmas. AJ spoke to Up Roxy's with Spandex back in 2013 about her status as a gaming geek, citing Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy X, and Mortal Kombat 3 amongst her all-time favorite games. Her love for the latter even manifested in WWE when, during 2011's Halloween Divas Battle Royal, she cosplayed the game's Katana, and she even had a damn fan. It's a shame she couldn't have performed some kind of fatality too, but it would have made too much of a mess, I suppose. Maybe one day. Also, AJ, I do have to call you out for liking Final Fantasy X. That boss on a ship can kiss my ass. Number 2, her troubled childhood. AJ Lee leaves no stone unturned in her extraordinary autobiography, speaking extremely openly about the difficulties she's faced during her childhood. The early chapters speak of a toxic home environment during which she was the target of frequent emotional abuse from her mother, who'd constantly belittle and shame her for apparent sexual impurity. Depending on her mother's mood, she could expect to be beaten for daring to utter the wrong thing. These issues were made worse by the family's financial struggles, as we mentioned. AJ wrote that only beer, not food, was ever to be found in the fridge, and that she only had a single pair of trousers. Going through eviction after eviction, Lee never had a place to call home, the family living between friends' houses, a motel, and even a car. AJ's struggles naturally became a burden at school because she was forced to make up excuses to avoid expensive field trips and would often feign a lack of hunger to mask not eating. Her latter life success speaks volumes of Lee's tenacity and endeavor, and hers is one of the business's most inspiring rags to riches tales. Number 1, her mental health work. Using Lee's book once again, some of the most difficult to read yet crucial chapters focus on her learning to live with mental illness. AJ has been open about her struggles with bipolar disorder in her adult life, originally misdiagnosed as depression. Unable to cope with the internal strife, a 20-year-old Lee overdosed on a cocktail of painkillers and antidepressants, an episode she has since described as a suicide attempt. A correct diagnosis soon followed the ordeal, and Lee was able to receive the correct treatment. She today cites her condition as imbuing her with the bravery necessary to accomplish her goals, and is an active and vocal mental health advocate, having written extensively for organizations such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So as much as she may be a wrestling legend, her work outside in other fields is equally as impressive, and arguably even more important. Ipso facto, AJ Lee is a very good person. And as mental health has been brought up here, remember, if you need to speak to someone, please do reach out. There's many phone lines, or you can talk to a friend, a family member, whatever works, but it will be okay. Know of anything else that nobody knows about AJ Lee? Make sure you let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles, and follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll talk to you again soon.